All right, this is Bob Rutledge. I am a resident of uh, Pebble Creek, and this is for all the homeowners. Uh, Trust me, there's a part of this, even if you don't like the part about this lawsuit and clearing out the RVs and the trailers, you're still going to be kind of appalled at the whole dadgum thing about what's happening. Um, so, also be forewarned. Uh, I have if you're for me, you can contact me. If you're against me, don't want to hear from you in any way, shape, or form. And these are phone numbers, emails, things like that. If you're a hater and you start doing some things you shouldn't be doing, it can be traced back to you. I promise. I'm in the IT field, the website stuff, internet. It can be traced. And so if you don't like me, just talk among yourselves. Don't want to hear it directly back to me. But if you're a homeowner and care about your property value, I hope you'll contact me. The bottom line is a year ago, September 2018, I had to file a lawsuit. Long story short, I'm going to show you some pictures in a minute. Uh, the board, I was on the board for a temporary time because I thought we could change things, but there were people who had the wrong attitude about it, and they were undermining the board, saying that the covenants and restrictions were just too vague and could not be enforced. And this has been a fight that's been going on for more than 10 years, and it's all BS. There were always people on the board who just undermined the other board members who were of good. Remember now, being on the board of a neighborhood is a unpaid position and a very thankless position. And there are some of the people here who have done it for more than 10 years and only have been castigated every time they did anything, and would have probably been attacked even if they had done nothing. So it's a very thankless job. It's even a thankless job for the people who are currently on there now. And I do understand that. And it is not my intention to attack. It is my intention via video to inform our neighborhood of what's going on, at least from my point of view. Again, if you don't agree with it, that's okay. A lawsuit was filed back in September of last year, though, because the Perrymons, among others, would not live up to the covenants that they agreed to. And they're still fighting this in court, and we are finally going to have our day in court up in Bay Minette on December the 3rd. And I hope if you want to come to it, you'll contact me, and because I would welcome the support. And if you're against, be up there to support the Perrymons. That's fine with me. But I filed this complaint that, pardon me, I didn't mean to shoot through it real quick, but it's pretty simple. The bottom line is the defendants maintained an RV, boat, and trailer parked inside their house in violation of restricted covenants. They think that it's okay. And so let's fast forward a little bit. Well, let's just tell the history in pictures. How about that? So let me start this little slideshow, because this is the covenant that's quote unquote in question. Doesn't say. Hold on. Let me hit pause on this thing. Let me hide this thing here. Let me hit pause. Let me go back. Sorry about that. I'm not a professional. I'll just pretend to be one. Okay. Another thing is, while I'm doing this video, look over my shoulder and watch that video too. Replay this. Watch it many times. It's a YouTube video I did to try and explain to homeowners that if you don't maintain the covenants and restrictions that we have in place, what's going to happen is these neighborhoods are going to get ratted out. The picture's there. You can see that. How would you like to look at that from your front yard? The picture that's over my shoulder. Now, that picture is of a neighbor here in the neighborhood. They moved their boat after getting a letter because they realized it's pretty much black and white. No RVs, boats, and trailers that are visible. And that one was visible. And all I did was ask the gentleman to move it, and he did it. But the pictures are other places throughout the Foley area. I mean, we have the nicest neighborhood. There's no doubt about it, especially of the age of the neighborhood. The other day, I had a cable guy over here hooking up the cable, and he had wondered how we had kept from ratting out our neighborhood like this. And I said, well, what did you mean by ratting out? Because I kind of knew what he was talking about. He says, right there, take a look at that picture. Parking RVs and boats and putting ginormous metal storage buildings in your backyard that take up the whole backyard. That these wind up making neighborhoods unattractive anymore. And then what happens? The value plummets on your property, and you wind up having to put it into a rental pool to start renting it out. It becomes a rental property. And I don't think any of us really want that. So it all began with section 2.3. You can read it for yourself. But right here it is. No off-road vehicles, beach buggies, boats, campers, trailers, motorhomes, recreational vehicles. That means RVs. Trucks weighing over a ton. Now, I cannot believe the guy wants to argue about this, but he does, and that's fine. If he wants to embarrass himself, he's embarrassed himself several times in public. Let him keep doing it. Step vans, other such vehicles shall be permitted to be parked anywhere in the subdivision. I don't know what part about anywhere that people don't understand, but I mean anywhere in the subdivision, but not limited to lots, common areas, temporary, permanently, unless totally screened from public view. Hey, folks, I'm here to confess my sins. I have a trailer. I've had a trailer since this whole thing began. But mine's short. It's below the fence line. You can't see it from any neighbor's house that's in our neighborhood anyway. And if a neighbor ever spoke up about it, it'd have been gone. Now, I do have a boat, and that boat would have set up higher than the 6-foot fence I have around the house. And it's been in a storage lot for 3 years down the road in Alberta, Alabama. Hey, I can read the covenants. Shocking. Let's go to the next part. This is the beautiful photograph that started it all. This is, bottom line is this guy had a boat in his backyard for a long time. He had a trailer there too, and you can see the trailer sticks up above the fence line. This is from the neighbors across the way. The neighbors on both sides of him could see it, and they all looked at it for 3 years. And guess what? Whether they complained to him or not in person, they were pretty pissed off about it. And these neighbors sent me, when I was on the board, the neighbor took this picture, sent it to me, and threatened to sue me as a board member. And I said, look, don't sue me, man. I'm on your side. We're starting to take care of this. And so 3 of the board members, really all 4 of us did, agreed to start sending out letters of violation. Now, here's where we stand today, really. This picture was taken on February the 14th, 2018. I was on the board at this point in time. The person whose house this is was not on the board, had never served on the board to the best of my knowledge. But obviously he had an RV and a boat in his backyard sitting right at the entrance to the neighborhood. Oh, let's see. Can you read that sign? Oh, we'll cover this in a few minutes because this is just priceless. Because I didn't realize what had happened until after it had already happened. But we sent out as a board, on July the 18th, the first of the violation letters to the gentleman and lady that live at the house that had the ginormous boat that had sat there for a long time. They thumbed their nose at it. The next day, being the secretary at the instruction of the other board members, with maybe one that didn't answer any emails because he just miraculously all of a sudden could get emails. He didn't agree to it, but the other 3 board members had all agreed, all 4 of them had agreed to sending out violations. No restrictions, but especially this one right here was the number 1 violator because of such a large boat. But they were sent out to 18 people. The good news is less people are violating now than they were back then. But it created a hell of a furor, and the lady that was the president of the HOA resigned immediately. Later on, I resigned. And we can go into more history about that, but I don't want to waste anybody's time about that. So this was taken back on the 14th too, before the letters of violation. Now, the letters of violation went out on the 18th. This was July the 18th. That's how long we sat around and talked about this. This picture was taken on February the 14th, 2018 as well. What do we have here? I mean, can you see it? I can see it. It's an RV. It's an RV trailer. Okay? Whatever you want to call it. It's camper, RV, trailer. I can see it above the fence line. Like I said, if it's below the fence line, I personally wouldn't have a problem with it. But if a neighbor could see it, then that's what it is. It's a problem. It's not invisible. And as you can see, this is looking back toward the entrance to the neighborhood. Everybody comes in right there. And when you look across the street, that's what you saw was those pictures that I had. Let me go back a couple more. You saw this. I mean, really. So now let me go back to where I was at. This is today. On and off. Sometimes the guy will cover it up. Sometimes he won't. What do you think this is? Can you see it from the street? Is it completely screened? I mean, really? Is it complete? I think that there's no thinking to it. Grown-ups in the room know that completely screened means if the boat was below this line and couldn't be seen, and other neighbors didn't want to complain about it, nobody'd be complaining about it. All right. There was also a part in there about 1-ton pickup trucks. This guy went around the whole neighborhood taking pictures of everybody's pickup truck, including my own. He's got one just like it. And claiming that because it's a 1-ton pickup truck, it should be in violation too. That again, the rules are outdated. No. We all know what a 1/2-ton pickup truck meant, what a 3/4-ton pickup truck meant, and what a 1-ton pickup truck meant. And plus the technical thing is it said over 1 ton. A 1-ton pickup truck is a Ram 3500, not a Ram 1500. It's a Chevrolet 3500, a GMC 3500, not a 1500. Okay? But we're dealing with people here that don't really care about the truth. They just want to argue things until you give up on it. Either that or they call you a Nazi on next door. Now, here comes the funniest part of the whole damn thing. As many of you know, I was on the board 2 elections ago. Last election, a whole new board came in. They were people who want RVs, boats, and trailers in the backyard. To the best of my knowledge, not a single one of them have ever been on the board. Oh, they've complained a lot on next door for a decade, but they've never served, okay? Well, I remember attending a meeting. Maybe it's their second one that they had. No, I think it was the first one after they got elected. It's the first one after they got elected up at the library. And I remember them talking about redoing the front sign at the entrance, the stone sign now that's out at the street and taking up the shrubs and doing all that they were going to do. Well, they were also going to take down this sign here. And it dawned on me today, and today is November the something. What is today? November the 18th. Today is November the 18th. It dawned on me today why they took the daggum sign down. And I remember it now. A voice in the room said, we're going to take down that sign of don'ts. Okay? And yet today somebody posted on one of the violators, as a matter of fact, posted on Nextdoor that people were soliciting in the neighborhood. Well, gee willikers, look what sign we took down, folks. Now, we have come back and put in the neighborhood watch sign, but the reason there was a reason they wanted this sign taken down. They wanted it taken down so this reversed lettering here, gee, it couldn't be more prominent. Please observe our regulations and policies. So when you move into this neighborhood, you buy a house, your realtor's supposed to tell you, or should have told you, or you should have asked, are there covenants and restrictions here? It only said it on the front sign. That's why they wanted this taken down, so that people could now, because of the lawsuit, they wanted to be able to say, well, we didn't know when we bought the house that that there were covenants and restrictions. Well, yeah, they did. They just keep wanting to obfuscate and get away with breaking the rules. If they want to park RVs, boats, and trailers and turn this place into a ratted out place, move up to the ratted out neighborhoods. There's plenty of them around here, younger than ours, that now have lapsed into people renting out their houses because they're not worth living in anymore. Now, we're not the only people that do this. I was driving around. I took this picture back in 2018 as well. This is down at Bon Secours. They have a smaller sign that announces covenants and restrictions before you pull into the neighborhood. This is probably for legal reasons. I'm not a lawyer, but it just makes sure that everybody knows that moves here knows that there are covenants and restrictions that must be abided by. Don't move here if you don't want to abide by covenants and restrictions. If you're anybody that moved here before this sign was taken down by this year's board, you have no excuse about covenants and restrictions. It said so on the sign when you came in the neighborhood. Oh, wait, you can also see where there were boats and RVs in the neighborhood. I mean, there were almost everywhere at the time. There are a lot fewer of them now. Now, here's the part that everybody needs to listen up. Here's the part that has nothing to do with boats and RVs and which camp you come down into and that sort of thing. When I filed the lawsuit back in September of last year, they thought it was a joke until they got the lawsuit. Then they went out and finally hired on the 11th hour of the 11th day to answer the lawsuit. They hired a lawyer. It turns out it was Stone Crosby PC. Okay. Again, the person I was suing at the time, the Perrymons, were not members of the board, had never been members of the board to the best of my knowledge. Then they get on the board last December. Then the first meetings that came out, the first minutes that came out at the meeting I was talking about where they talked about tearing down the signs, both the signs, they put out this proposal to spend, I could have swore it was not near what they wound up spending, but they wound up spending almost $30,000 on the entrance. Yeah, almost $30,000, and it's still not done. Certainly 25. Okay. In that minutes, it had an accounting that they had spent $2,300 and some change on a lawyer. And I'm sitting there with a former board member. We're scratching our head. What did they pay a lawyer $2,300 plus for? Well, I didn't think anything about it. 6 months goes by. The guy that I was sitting with, the former board member, says, Bob, I bet they hired. No, he didn't. He said, I ought to look in to see who the lawyer was. That's what he said. And so I sent an email to the HOA email, Pebble Creek 35636, whatever it is. And they answered it back that they'd hired a lawyer. The name of the lawyer was Stone Crosby. The name of the group of lawyers. It's actually a group of lawyers. And I'm sitting here going, I can't believe this. That's the same lawyer that the Perrymons have. Now, folks, that's conflict of interest. If this was public corporation, and it really essentially is, if it was a business, a state entity, there'd be people getting brought up on charges for funneling money. It just looks improper, if nothing else. It looks improper for looking at Stone Crosby's point of view of it. I'm actually filing a complaint against Stone Crosby as soon as the HOA gives me the name of the actual lawyer that they hired. Because I know who the Perrymons have hired, but in order to file an ethics complaint, I've got to know what lawyer the HOA filed. All right, now here's also part of what you and I can agree on. We need that $2,300 back. It's totally inappropriate for Stone Crosby to be representing both sides of the fence on this thing. So, December the 3rd is going to be, hopefully, the final act of this lawsuit. Oh, you'll know about it because one side or the other is going to be crowing about winning it. But the other thing is this money needs to come back to the HOA. $2,300 plus needs to come back to the HOA because it is inappropriate. It looks bad. It smacks of funneling money. Oh, wait. Gee, Mr. Perryman, we'll charge you $25 an hour to represent you, and we will charge the HOA $450 an hour. Okay? Wink, wink, nod, nod. Okay? This just doesn't look good, folks. So I hope we can agree on that part. If we don't agree on anything, then c'est la vie. But at least you're informed. That's the purpose of this. This is more knowledge than you've probably gotten about your neighborhood in 5 or 10 years. I hope that you will all step forward and start participating more. The new elections are coming up in a couple of weeks. Do you want people on the board at all that spend your money this way? I mean, that was 10 houses worth of dues that got spent this way inappropriately, in my opinion. And we need to demand it back. So let's get together. Let's elect a new board. Let's not elect any of the people that have been on it ever before. I won't even run, but I'll run if the only people that run, I'm going to run if the only people that run are the ones that are on there now. Now, let me let you in for a hint. The first 5 people that run, they don't have to get a single vote to be on the board. And that's exactly what happened a year ago. Nobody voted. All 5 members were elected or appointed or whatever you want to call it because there were no challengers. I started to challenge them back when there were only 2 or 3 people running. The minute I threw my hat in the ring, 2 or 3 more people volunteered. So they had 5. I immediately withdrew my name. This year, though, I'm not going to withdraw my name. I'll be there and I will run no matter what. But I hope that 5 of you will come forward and volunteer to be on this that want to protect their property values. I think that now there's enough scrutiny going around and there's the proof that lawsuits will be filed that everybody will behave. Everybody will start taking care of their property. But after December the 3rd, cross your fingers, we get our neighborhood back. These people are going to have to move their RVs and trailers out of here. And so you'll be the first to know it. And, well, no, I'll be the first to know it. You'll be the second to know it. And let's be in touch if you are on my side. If you don't like me, you don't like what I'm doing, I'm warning you now. Don't be sending me no hate stuff, okay? Don't be coming by my house and looking ugly because there's cameras you can't see, okay?